Hello. Hello, everyone. Let's see if we have anyone join in this discussion of Queen and Slim. So I saw that movie tonight. And don't worry, if you haven't seen it, I'm not going to give away too much. But I said I would be back with this discussion of Queen and Slim. So and the first thing I would have to say is I can't believe how fast it started. When it just started, I was like, oh, what? If I didn't, or if I hadn't read about the movie beforehand and watched a little interview with Lil Waithe, I wouldn't know too much about the characters initially. And I would have to say this is more about the actions than anything and mentality, the mindset. And I would have to say that most people, and especially African Americans, whether you're male or female, your mindset is different based on certain things that have happened in this country. If you're pulled over by a cop car, because, I hate to say this, and I'm sorry, I don't even want to be sorry for saying this, but I understand, a lot of cops are like, they're worried and they're scared for their lives, but routine traffic stops aren't routine traffic stops anymore. So let's just be real. Depending on how that cop is feeling, depending on anxious, depending on their personal views and what's been in the news, just may affect someone's traffic stop. So it's very different. And it's funny because I went to see the movie in my area. I was in Royal Oak. And it was funny because when I got there at 5:40, before 5:40, 5:30 something, they said it was sold out. So let's talk about that. Because I gave another couple a tip before going in, or before, because they were trying to say the 8 o'clock was sold out too. And I'm like, so I was wondering, based on the topic and based on what this movie is about, were they kind of trying to limit the number of people in the theater? Because this is what happened to me. So I get there, I say, hey, I see Queen and Slim up there just as normal. So I was like, hey, is Queen and Slim sold out? I just happened to ask, just to ask. And he's like, oh, no. And then he starts to sell me a ticket. Then I was like, oh, awesome. I'm here to see Queen. So he goes, oh, no, it's sold out. Okay. And then he put the sold out, the little sold out message on the screen. I was like, but it wasn't there. So I said, all right. And he goes, I saw another couple who did not like their seat because they had to sit so close. He says, look, only way you can go in is if someone comes out and wants a refund. Luckily, I stood there looking and going, am I going to go see Cats? There was really nothing else I wanted to see. Over the holiday break, I saw Star Wars. I couldn't get in Queen and Slim, and I knew that I wanted to support Queen and Slim in the theater. So, lo and behold, 2 people walked out. They walked out of a cuddle seat. And I kind of didn't want to pay $14 which means I would pay for 2 versus just paying for me at that time. But lo and behold, somebody else wanted to see it too. I just had all these little blessings happen. I'm like, oh my God, we're not going to be able to have our discussion. But blessings. The universe showed up for me. I put something out there and the universe showed up for me. And so I ended up sharing a cuddle seat with a random guy. The cuddle seat was $14. He paid $7. I paid $7. But guess what we noticed? That theater was like half empty. So I'm looking back and I'm looking back. He's like, he's noticing me looking back. And he's like, there's seats available. I was like, I see. You see seats? I see seats too. And it made me think like, they weren't trying to limit the number of people to see this movie. They're not trying to do that. No. Cool. Anyway, fast forward. And mind you, we got up and sat in other seats. Because 1, it was a little uncomfortable sitting that close. I didn't blame that couple. And 2, we were strangers sharing a cuddle seat, which he says is like a sofa. No, it's like this. And we're like, I put my purse in between. And then I moved my purse because I thought that was rude. You know, we were like two separate people, but we wanted to see the movie so bad. We decided, like, yo, we're gonna go share a cuddle seat in this full theater. And then we saw that it wasn't a full theater, and we went up and got a seat. Okay. Yes, we did. And I sat in a nice, comfortable seat where I could be a nice, comfortable distance from the screen. So that's my funny story for the moment. But anyway, fast forward, I thought I lost my earring. My God, the universe working again. So at first I wasn't going to even go back. I said, I checked around, looked at the seat I was initially in, go outside, looked and was like, damn, where did my earring go? I didn't even feel it fall off. I didn't hear it hit the ground. It's wood. I would hear this thing, right? And so I decided to just ask the guest services. Mind you, what did they do again? 8:45 or whatever the 8 o'clock show was, Queen and Slim sold out. And the couple was like, what? Wait a minute. So I said, look, y'all, let me give you this tip. They told me the same thing. I told them my story about the cuddle seat. And I noticed that there was like half. And I said, look, there was like 10 or so, 10-ish empty seats. I'm going to give you a tip. I said, stay, wait, and then ask to go inside and see if there are empty seats. Because I'm going, you're not trying to limit people to see this movie, right? Right. Okay. Mind you, those who know this movie know the topic. So I don't want to think that. I don't want to think that a theater would limit people to see an awesome movie, mind you. So let's talk Queen and Slim. So I love Queen and Slim. Like I told you, it started really fast. I was like, I thought we were going to get more of like a backstory into these people, but that wasn't what this is about. We know that it was about two people going on a date, and on the way home, they're interrupted. And I don't want to give out or give away anything for people who haven't seen the movie yet. And I say, go see the movie, but let's just talk about that mindset, how that mindset is different. I remember being a kid, and before a lot of things happened, and mind you, I was born in the 80s, so I was raised through the 90s. And I'll say before Rodney King, we thought the cops were our friends. You know, they kind of earned some points back after the civil rights movement. You know what I'm saying? Because we had a lot of cops in our schools. They were doing good things. They wanted to be seen in a good light. And then what I noticed nowadays, we don't have that same thing that I grew up with. Cops kind of wanted to change that narrative. If you were a child born in the 80s and came through the 90s, you grew up with a DARE program, which means a cop was in your school on a regular basis talking to you about that drug epidemic, trying to be your friend, high-fiving the kids. Yo, let me be friends with you. Let me show you this. Let me show you these things. Let me tell you about my job. And some of that's gone. And it's funny because as I go back to school systems and I'm in, seeing school systems, and if there's any school system that still has that, awesome. I'm just saying something I've noticed, like where you'll get the fire truck outside and the fireman is friendly. But you don't necessarily always have like the cop car that comes around. That's like, yo, I'm the friendly cop. You see the cops, but you don't have that a whole lot. I'm just going with what I know. I'm just going with what I see. And I look back at certain events and how they've happened and the timelines, and you see that disappearance. And then I see things like memes that say, don't forget that one of the purposes of organizations that hate the Ku Klux Klan, the white supremacy groups, any supremacy group, they wanted to infiltrate, and they did infiltrate law enforcement. So, and I know some people don't like this, but one headwear was just changed for another headwear. And I can't say that it's not apparent. I can't say that that's not true. I can't. There's just a different mindset nowadays. And it's sad because it's hard because, and I'm not the only one that feels this way. You look at a cop and say, hey, that's going to be a nice cop, it's going to be a bad cop. And I'm not going to say they didn't portray good cops in the movie, and that bad things can happen to them. I thought she hit some things on all sides. There were some very pivotal things in this movie, and no one cheered at anything. Because, it, and I think that's because she made it real. The thoughts, the feelings, what could happen. You know, that wasn't fake. You could be going home from a date, and depending on how that cop's evening's gone, depending on how your evening's gone, that you could just be saying something as plain and as simple. That's again when we go over these mindset things, being able to stand up for yourself, speak your mind, say what you want, and say it how you mean. And you can say these things with a soft tone. And just because they're coming from you, could piss somebody off. And it's like, am I not supposed to live? Am I not supposed to be able to go outside my house? Am I not supposed to breathe? Come on. She brought some, like I said, she brought some stuff. And she even said, she goes, there could be some people that are going to hate this movie. There's going to be some people that are going to have say some things about it. But so what? She made something that needed to be met. She said some things that needed to be said. Like, I'm not going to say who, and I'm not going to say when. I'm just going to say this line was said. And when it was said, I was like, that is so true. And there's a reason why this saying is a man's home is his castle. And I've heard that said, I think, in more certain homes than any. Because this line was said, and I said, damn, that hit that on she just hit it. She hit it. It was, he needs us to worship him here. Because out there he ain't shit. And I said, you know what? That's how a lot of people feel. And that's why I do this mindset things. I do this mindset talk. And I want to change that narrative. Because when I see certain behavior, I know it's because, well, I'm going to do it because this is how they expect me to act. And I want to change that narrative. Why? Why do it? Because that's how someone expects you to act. And saying something as simple as, even though maybe you didn't have to say, you could go back and forth. It doesn't matter. When you're human, and you're going to say stuff. Simply saying, hey, could you hurry it up? It's cold. Because you got me standing out here for no reason. No warrants, no reason. You had me get out the car for no reason. Instead of looking at my license, getting a good clean check and going on about your way, things could escalate based on mindset, self-esteem, and what happened during the day. And someone wanting to just maybe speak up for themselves a little bit. And it doesn't matter how timid it's said. It doesn't matter how nice it's said. It doesn't matter if you ask me, I'm just cold. I want to get back in the car. Or on the other hand, you got to, well, hey, son, nah, I don't want to have to arrest you. Put it down and go on about your way. No, hey, son, put it down and go on about your way. I'm being cool with you. We the same. Me and you are the same. I'm just on this other side because this is how I've decided to make my living. There was a lot. And I don't want people not to see this movie based on how things have been cut and edited for commercials and for trailers. See it based on the realness. See it based on, because you want to hear some of these lines that bring some truth. I just want people to know that I was here. There's some kids, and this is America. There's some kids that say, this is just a stick here in America. Now, people always want to go abroad and go overseas. You can't go anywhere or say anything or do anything until your backyard is all together. And if your backyard is not all together, you can't say nothing. And I posted a meme, and some people probably like it, some people probably don't. And there's a lot of people saying, like, yo, man, we just started a war. No, that person over there just started a war. That's starting any wars. I don't have any problems with it. Nothing was going on. They're just trying to stall the inevitable. That's it. But man, Queen and Slim is powerful. I highly recommend it. And again, I don't want to say people are trying to limit people from seeing this movie, but I saw quite a few empty seats and, where I was. But anyway, there's some powerful things. And I don't want to give anything away for people who haven't seen it. let's focus, like just focusing on mine. So let's go to our Kwanzaa unity. Unity. Two strangers became united in the matter of, I don't know, an hour. I don't know, however long they were on their date, however long that altercation took place. And it's no, we're in this together. They became united. They formed their own family, their own kinship, their own sense of belonging, trying to find some type of stability in a mess that is just beyond their own probably personal beliefs, beyond their own education, beyond their own moral standings and grounds and how they were raised. And when you look at, right, what, assume he was from the ghetto, right? But you saw the parents' house. No, he was raised. He was raised. He was raised, and not in a. Ooh, I don't want to give too much away. He was raised, and it's so funny because some people say, "Well, there's another line where it's just comply, just comply." Well, damn, I didn't comply. How much more do you want me to comply? And now I got a gun in my face, and all I did was comply. Because there's, all sorts of feelings. And I do this. I sometimes try to go along with the ride, or go along with what the others are doing. Because I've come to where my sense of understanding is with a little personal thing that's happened. I was like, man, the vote was taken away. Kind of how I felt about something. What if someone said, hey, if you don't comply, or even if you comply, whether you don't comply or if you do comply, we're going to take your vote away either way. What sense does that make? It doesn't make sense, right? That's kind of like how that part of the, it's like, whoa, what just happened? And what she's created is just too powerful. Now let's look at self-determination. Self-determination is to determine people to stay alive and to make it, is what I'll say. And a friend of mine sent me something, because there's been something I've been trying to understand and trying to get more understanding on, because I found out something was a little different. This is when I chose my school system. I chose it based on me being in that school system and growing up in that school system and what was being taught in that school system. But they're doing some new things. That's cool. And when I first learned about those new things, I was like, what is that? And ever since, been trying to get information about it, and I really couldn't. And I saw that an associate realized that she's not getting the information that she needs, nor is she getting the answer to what she's learning. So she went ahead and sent me some info, and still confused. I think I'm gonna have to reread. And basically, she was telling me this teaching is to teach people to survive. And this is also being used as, so basically what they end up doing is they're just surviving at this point. And that's why I use this. So I'm going to teach people just to survive. They're not going to excel or succeed. When you're just surviving, you do not excel or succeed. When you're just surviving, you're in survival mode and survival mode only. No emotion is being handled. And if you think emotions are getting handled, you're crazy. Because survival mode is survival mode, or grit. Grit, I guess, is what it's being called. Grit. Now, there's grit and determination, but in this little documentary that I'm watching about wealth and success and just decadence, we're going to have a whole talk about that. That's going to be with the identity talk. Because they're doing more than surviving. Yeah, they're having to survive their circumstances, which most people will look at those circumstances and be like, well, you got a whole bunch of money. What are you surviving? The wolves. That's what what I'm looking at this, because you can get eaten alive. If not, wow, I'm not as good as these other billionaires. I only got $1 million, so let me go do the inevitable. So grit, because I don't see them showing, they're showing self-determination to stay on top. but they got a little bit more backing with it. And a lot of people with the backing, they've already had backing. So if you're looking at people who have no backing, and that's not everyone, but if you're looking at those who are, trying to get somewhere and there's no backing and they're only learning grit and not how to overcome other things and deal with a mindset and really be taught mindset, true mindset training and coaching, to think outside that box, to think, I gotta say, just one step ahead of that other person. There's a little bit more than grit. Yes, grit, but there's also that emotional maturity and the intellectual maturity. And that's almost what you see. It's like this quickness of it to where they're just trying to make it at this point. Everything else is lost. Money is lost. Keeping emotions together as best as possible, feeling safe. Like, are we saying we should leave? Are we safe even among our own? Because they meet someone says, I don't agree with what you did. I'm going to help, but I don't agree with it. I would have took my ticket and been on my way. That mindset of just take it, be desensitized to it, and go on about your way. But that's the thing. When you don't control everything, how can you be about your way when that person has to send you on your way? But they decide to detain you. What do? Are you not going to go into fight? It's either fight or flight. So you're going to stand your ground or you're going to flee. When it becomes to that inevitable moment, everyone knows when that inevitable moment is. And that moment was when that gun was drawn for like no reason. Like, dude, all I said was I was cold. Like, is there anything else? I'm cold. So mindset is key, one of the key things. And I just, based on the things, like, people saying we're teaching our young men, and I've only heard it really with the young men. I'm teaching if my son, my black male child gets pulled over, what to do and what to do immediately. And I thought about this because I made a cop man. Is when I first moved back home from New York, and I hit that spot on Woodward. That's that trap going down. I didn't see what the sign was. It was kind of like the freeway, so I just kept going. And I got a cop that had a bad night. He had an attitude when he pulled me over for no reason. And key things I didn't do. I didn't turn my radio down immediately. So I just said, hi, how are you? I was like, why are you pulling me over? I never get pulled over. Like, I didn't even understand why I was getting pulled over because I wasn't, to me, going that fast. But to him, I was going fast. And me not turning down my radio immediately. It's those small things. It's never the big things that's going to piss someone off. So it's always going to be those small things that piss someone off. It shouldn't. You wouldn't think that would piss someone off to say, no, hey, could you turn it down? And if you comply, why not? I didn't turn it down because he didn't ask me to. He just kind of was like annoyed and was like, hey, you got a good driving record? I was like, yeah, of course I do. You don't now. And it was the same attitude. When that cop said, something, it was the same. It was the same. But, my evening, of course, I took my ticket. He gave me a ticket and sent me on my way. He didn't just tell me to get out the car and search my car. He knew there was nothing in there. If you're a good cop, you're able to read people and read who they are. And he was just annoyed that I was speeding and annoyed I didn't turn my radio down. So instead of excusing the ticket because I had a good driving record, he gave me a ticket like he would anybody, hopefully. So, but like I'm telling you, this movie, it's going to hit home. It's going to hit home. And gosh, just those key lines. There's some key lines. I'm looking for someone that I can be real with and just ugly. And it's so different, that movie and what was being said versus what I'm watching right now. It's so different. One world is almost prettier than the other because I know that world is real. Whereas this world over here, I know is smoke and mirrors. And the ugliness is really what happens when the cameras are off. Staying thin, going to get surgeries, what you have to do to make all that money. Yeah, they're going over all types of people and how they've made their money. And it's crazy. It's crazy. Like I said, it was a somber silence coming out of the film. I wasn't the only one hoping. I had a lot of hope. And, hopefully I know she made this so that people would think and use their brains and not just go, look at it one way or one-sided, but just to think about all sides, to think about everything, to think about what's going through someone's mind. It was a beautiful film. It was very beautiful. Tough subject on so many levels. Tough subject on so many levels. But I loved it. Absolutely loved it. And the soundtrack, I was just listening to, some of the music at the end. Ooh, that's a soundtrack to get. That's a hot soundtrack. It's a very hot soundtrack. And I don't want to give away too much. I just kind of want to hit on some things that I heard and that I saw in this movie, because I knew I was going to hear some good things and see some good things. And there's this transformation, is what I'll say. Transformation. And I can relate to this transformation, but my transformation didn't come based on, similar circumstances. For my hair, I had caught a scalp infection. I was working someplace, and I knew this place wasn't too clean. I was just like, this doesn't seem clean. And, I was a little younger before kids, I was pursuing acting and everything, and I needed flexible hours. So I was working at a fitness center, and this was a fitness center that was going downhill. Okay. And I all of a sudden got this scalp infection. I didn't have any kids at the time. This to me was something that people with kids got. And it just rapid, because every time I had someone look at my scalp, they couldn't see anything. And I just decided to use some stuff for psoriasis, and that killed what was ever on my scalp. But that's what started my transformation to being truly, 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 truly natural. I was already wearing natural hair and not relaxing or doing anything like that. But then that's when I just did like complete no wigs, because I was just straightening my hair with like pressing comb if I want to wear my hair. And if I wanted a different hairstyle, I throw on a wig. That made me get rid of everything, because I didn't want nothing that was not supposed to be on my head. And that created, to me, a beautiful transformation. Yeah, I said I would never lock my hair. I ended up locking my hair when I became pregnant with my first child. So my transformation was a little out of some other circumstances. I was actually bedridden when I was pregnant with my first child, and couldn't really do my hair or do much. Couldn't eat or drink. But the transformation that you see Queen and Slim go through, and it's like, wow, what if they could have lived that authentic before this event? And there are some people that are trying to live that authentic. That's what my thing is. My thing is for 2020. Yeah, I need to lose this weight. I need to lose a little weight. But that's just lifestyle. My whole thing is a whole lifestyle, whole mantra, okay, of just being positive and living authentic. And it's like, man, what some people have to go through to live authentic. What if they could just live that authentic life beforehand? They went through this transformation that allowed them to just be authentic. I just want to say so much. I don't want to give away too much. But it was amazing. I highly enjoyed this film. Like I said, the subject is what it is, and it's, said like I said, people enjoyed it, but it's not something to walk out of. It's not something to walk out of feeling like you're going to Disney World, is what I'll say. You're going to walk out thinking. You're going to walk out with maybe some changes. That's what I'll say, some changes. I'm trying to think of anything else in the film that I want to talk about. There was that line that resonated with me. And then some other things, which are more actions, and you would have to see it. And, like I said, the line of, he needs us to worship him in here, because out there he ain't shit. I want people to know that I was here. And you'll see who says that if you go and see it. Um, I want someone that will just like, love me and accept me. I'm not gonna. I'm paraphrasing for this one. Um, like in all my ugliness and all my realness, and you'll see that part. And sometimes ugliness isn't ugly. If you can find someone you can be completely and honestly open and real with, and who you are, shit, that's a blessing. That's an absolute blessing. That's a different mindset altogether. But anyway, see the movie. Highly enjoyable. Um, some good moments, some good lines, some good sayings, some good thoughts, some good just um, photography, some good photography. Highly recommend. Highly recommend. And I'm sure after I finish watching this, we'll definitely have another talk. But that talk goes with identity, and all that has to do with mindset. I noticed when I was doing these chats and doing these talks and talking, sharing everything that I was learning and still learning, pieces were missing. People are, when they're reading these books, you're getting pieces and you got to put the pieces together. They're going to give you some keys and give you some things, but you got to put the pieces together yourself. Only thing someone can do is give you pieces to a puzzle, and you have to put that puzzle together yourself. That's all people can do. Okay. So I'm going to leave it with that because I don't want to say too much with Queen and Slim. I'm going to wait, see this movie again, talk more because it's a lot that comes at you. You have a lot of thoughts. You have a lot of things that you see and have to process. It's something to process. When you walk out, you're going to need to process this movie. You have to process it. This isn't something that you could it's not some mainstream movie that you could just be like, oh yeah, this, that, and the other. And this is something you have to process. But let's tell you about my earring. It's funny. I told you I went back in, I told that couple about what I saw when they told me it was sold out. Guess where this earring was? It had found its way to the back of my sweater. Took off. Who knows why? I go to use the restroom when I make it home, and I'm like, what is this? Boom, there's my earring on the back of my sweater. Fell off, hooked itself onto the back of my sweater. That is a true story. True story. Okay. So peace, love, many blessings. Definitely check out Queen and Slim, and then take the time to process the movie. Don't judge it right away by anything. Love the movie. Soundtrack sounds amazing. Peace, love, and many blessings.